Continuing my thoughts on Kierkegaard and his concept of leap of faith, that you need a leap of faith in leading the moral life, the ascetic one. Like, you don't need to search for reasons as we do in the aesthetic life. Like, when leading the aesthetic life, we search for reasons. Okay, what is the reason behind this? Like, basically, the atheism, like why should we believe in God? Like, is there a proof? Like, all this rationality which comes under this aesthetic life. And yes, it is with all its problems, its worries, its queries. So Kierkegaard gives us this option, and also the other one, which is moral life, which is full of devotion. uh, it's basically a leap of faith. Like, you don't have any assurance at the end, like in traditional religions. Like, in Christianity there is like the judgment day, or in Hinduism that there is this cycle which is going on. You need to do good, so then you'll go in heaven or something, or moksha or something like that. So these are like the endpoints which are given to us. But according to Kierkegaard's faith, you don't have the endpoint. You need to take that leap. So it's a leap of faith. So I was thinking about, like, what is this devotion? So I have two stories. So first one, let's say I will talk about the first either life, the aesthetic life, like in leading that. So I read The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky, and in that novel there is one passage regarding, I think it was conversation with the devil. The devil comes to Ivan, one of the brothers, Ivan Karamazov. Uh, I don't remember exactly it's a brother, but know the name of the character, Ivan Karamazov. So there is one quote which Dostoevsky quotes through Ivan, that a true non-believer, if he is true non-believer, will always be a non-believer. And if he is confronted with the miracles as an irrefutable fact, then he would rather not believe his own senses than to believe a miracle. So, in leading this ascetic life, like, one is completely devoted to this life, this rational life. So much so that if you have been presented with a miracle, like, okay, dead rises or something, it goes completely beyond the logic and reasoning. So, what a normal person will do, which is like dangling in between, he will choose the miracle happened, that means the God exists. But if a non-believer is there, if he sees that miracle, okay, someone has risen from the dead, which is a miracle, someone has performed a miracle, so he would rather not believe his senses. He would rather not believe that he's seeing the dead has risen, or listen to the person's words. So he would rather be a non-believer in his own senses than to believe the miracles. So in a way, this is completely aesthetic life, like full of morals and full of rational thoughts. Because in rational thinking, this is impossible. Like, the miracles are not possible because they don't adhere to the laws of science or laws of nature. So if a true non-believer is like given this opportunity to like witness the miracle, he would rather not believe the senses. And it's funny, like, Dostoevsky should come into picture, like, in talking about Kierkegaard's choosing of either of these two. I mean, all the philosophies are related, but to me, like, as a novice, or as I'm not a reader of philosophy or something, it was just like a part-time thing. So to me, it was like a complete coincidence, and I was like, wow, this comes into a completely, like, um how do you say, it completely unrelated novel. So it's, wow, I'm just wowed. Okay, so this was like the part of aesthetic life, and I have another story about this devotion, this leap of faith. And this is again from completely different background, like nothing related to Kierkegaard, or not also at Christianity. So when I was a child, my grandfather told me a story about Narada and Vishnu, Lord Vishnu in Hinduism. So Narada is this wandering monk or ascetic or some kind of saint. He is always chanting Narayan, Narayan. Narayan is one of the names of Lord Vishnu, so he's always chanting the name of Lord Vishnu, like every other moment or every other second. Like once he finishes a sentence, then he'll say, "Oh, Narayan, Narayan." So he's always uttering the words, uttering the name of the Lord. And so one day, like in his mind, like he now, to a layman, to the outside person, he will see that he is the most devoted devotee of the Lord, like because he's always saying his name, his Lord's name. So I think he also had in his mind this query that, oh, maybe I am the biggest devotee on this entire universe, in this entire universe of Lord Vishnu. So once he went to Lord Vishnu and asked him, like, oh Lord, like, who do you think is your most favorite devotee in this entire universe? So he was thinking that Lord Vishnu will reply that yes, you are, because you're always chanting my name. But to his surprise, he said that, do you see on the earth there is that farmer fellow? He is my most favorite devotee. And he got confused, like, why? So he was like, okay, like, let me see who is more devoted than me. So he went back to earth and like he observed this farmer's life, like how many times he says Lord Vishnu's name. So this farmer, like, he got up, and before leaving to his fields to work, he said once the Lord Vishnu's name. And then again, when he came back in the afternoon to have his lunch, so before entering the house, once he said Lord Vishnu's name. And again, like when he went back from the when he came back from the field to his house, once again he said Lord Vishnu's name. So basically, three times a day he said his name. So again, this guy Narada, he's always chanting Lord Vishnu's name, and he was like, why would Lord Vishnu say that he is my favorite, most favorite devotee? Like he's just saying, chanting the name of Vishnu like only three times a day, and here I'm constantly uttering these words Narayan, Narayan, and I am not his most favorite devotee. So he had this rational thinking in his mind, right? So it is not the complete moral life. Sorry, the complete, complete moral or complete ascetic life, even though he's like the most famous ascetic who chants Lord Vishnu's name. So he went back to him and he asked Lord Vishnu, like, why? Like, I saw this a farmer fellow. He was saying, chanting your name only three times a day, whereas I do like, like thousands of times a day or like an hour. He was like, why is he so favorite to you? Then I was like, okay, I will answer your question. Uh, but before that, do one task for me, okay? So I was like, okay, I will do. So he was like, okay, take this cup full of oil. So it was like filled till the brim. And he was like, since you can travel with the speed of mind or something in the mythology, can you do one rotation of this entire universe? I was like, okay, I will do. So he went back. I mean, the Narada, like he took the cup, like filled till the brim with oil, and he did one revolution. After some time, he came back. Uh, let's say it took him some time. And then when he came back, like the cup was still filled to the brim because also you shouldn't spill it. That was one of the instructions from the task. So Lord Vishnu asked him, oh, so you finished it finally. So how many times did you utter my name? He was like, not a single time, because I was completely focused on this task, not to fill the oil, like because the cup was filled till the brim. So it didn't occur to me to say your name because otherwise I would have spilled the oil and your task would have been futile. Like task failed successfully. But and then Vishnu was like, while this farmer fellow, like he's doing the greatest task of feeding his family. Basically, he's the sole provider of the family. Like he has children, he has wife, he has cows to take care of. And while all doing this like hard labor, he takes my name three times a day. But you, on the other hand, while doing the simple, meaningless task, simpler than feeding the family of I don't know how many people and cows. It's easier than that, right? And you didn't utter my name single time. So you see why this guy is more um, uh, dear to me than you on the other hand chanting this name like all the time. And then he understood that yes, like in devoting yourself completely to someone, not only you have to let go of the reasoning, like the reasons should not come in between, also let go of your rational thoughts. So if in first place Narada was completely devotional, he wouldn't get jealous, or he wouldn't have an inquiry like, who is this Lord Vishnu's famous um, devotee? So in a way, this, according to Kierkegaard, is the ascetic life, like completely. It's not devoid of reason. It's just a leap of faith. A leap of faith in, not into something, like not into God, I guess, but in that way, like in living ascetically. Like basically, that's what I think Buddha did to my, according to me. Buddha story is really completely dear to me. I really love that story. Like he was living like a prince, king, and then came to a realization that everything is facade. And then, so in a way, Buddha lived both lives. Like first, he was completely, fully devoted to this aesthetic life, like devoid of any intuition of this sufferings which exist in the world. So when he came to realize that these things exist, so he could no longer lead that normal life. A normal person would have was like, okay, I will just stay in my castle. It's fine. Like I'm a king, so other things doesn't matter to me. But he, when as soon as he came to realize this, he was like, okay, I'm going to completely devote myself to this one. So the people, like, there was a prophecy by Asita sage that Buddha will be either a great king or he will be a great monk. So even this, the story of either or, which we hear from Kierkegaard, also has its reflections in Buddha's story. In a way, like this is like inculcating. Sorry, I can't say that. Encompassing, like whole encompassing all the philosophies, like while talking about existentialism. So not only religion, devotion, or Dostoevsky's novel. So it kind of all encompassing these things. So we either lead this life or that life. There is no in between. I mean, you can do in between, but God knows how it goes. Ciao.